doing such a great job, Melvin, if you're still here somewhere. So tonight's show, we're going to be talking about birthing and hypnotherapy. That's why we're playing that surf music to bring those babies right in here, right? And we have a hypnotherapist, a HypnoBirthing specialist. There are a lot of things you do. We have Stephanie Kraft, who does energetic vibration and sound therapy for soul harmonizing and healing, hypnotherapy, Reiki, and HypnoBirthing, and teaches all these things. Say hi, you're allowed to.
Hello.
There we go, we got that on the mic. And we have Tammi McKinley, who is a midwife. Is that the right? Oh, you're a doula, midwife, isn't it?
I'm a midwife.
Midwife, right. Licensed midwife by the state of Virginia.
Midwife.
That's right. Is it more than Virginia, or do you also go beyond Virginia in your licensing, or just
No,
here?
unfortunately, D.C. and Maryland don't license CPMs right now, certified professional midwives like myself.
So that means you can just go and practice there, no matter what. You can put a shingle out just like that, right? Is that
I
what?
practice in Northern Virginia.
Oh, so you only practice now?
Yeah, only Northern Virginia.
When you say they don't license, does that mean they don't let you do it there, or?
Well, you have to do it under the radar.
Really?
Mm-hmm. There are some states that every state licenses certified nurse midwives who
Right.
became midwives via nursing, but not every state yet licenses certified professional midwives who go through a more direct route to
Right.
midwifery. Maryland and D.C. don't right now, but like New Jersey does, Florida does, California.
But if they don't, that means you can't get a license to practice there.
No, and you can be prosecuted for practicing.
But they have midwives, don't they?
Yeah, like the Birth Care Center in
Yeah.
Old Town Alexandria, they also practice in D.C. and Maryland because they can get licenses in those areas.
But they do it
They
not as an independent.
well, they're a practice. They're a group
Right.
practice of 5 certified nurse midwives,
Hmm.
and they can. But I'm a certified professional midwife, and my credential
It's different
they
than
just don't-
theirs.
Exactly. Yeah.
But don't you have as much or more training as them?
Don't don't say that. It's different. My credential is specifically for out-of-hospital birth.
Right.
The certified nurse midwives typically work in a hospital setting. However, they can get further training and specialize in out-of-hospital birth. And the midwives at Birth Care did just that, and they've been in practice some 20-some years.
Because
They have
I-
a long-established practice.
Wow. And Stephanie, now, you have like a pile of degrees dating back to 95 or something like that, don't you?
Well, I do. I have a Master's of Science but, from American University in health promotion, but on top of that, I just have some certifications in.
I mean, in the different areas that you
right,
teach in.
exactly,
Right.
hypnotherapy. So.
And you've been doing the hypnotherapy since 2002 or something? like that?
2004.
2004, right. So we're going to talk tonight about both birthing and hypnotherapy, and we might talk a little bit about the Reiki too and stuff like that a little later. I warned you there would be a controversy when we get to that, right? So I was reading Regan and Braden's birth stories tonight. Which also, it comes from 3 points of view, because her husband gets in there too, and it's earth-shaking. We'll give out the websites and things. You know, I might give out your guys' websites right off the bat, just so if people want to tune in and look at some of this. Although they should be listening right now, not going to the websites, but it's, let's see, he reaches for his glasses so he can read. It's novamidwives.org, novamidwife.org, or stephaniekraft.net, stephaniekraft.net. And you can find a lot of interesting things if you go there. But not now, because you're listening to me. And I'll announce those out again. But it's just an amazing story. It's Regan is half a page, and Braden is a mountain of pages. It's just a completely different thing.
Yeah. Well, Regan's birth was a pretty typical birth that women experience today. In this area, Northern Virginia, about 37% of women experience cesarean birth.
Is it really, Stephanie, is that what you've...
Yes.
Nationwide, it's
Right.
lower, but the state of Virginia collects the data for the hospitals, and if you look at just Northern Virginia hospitals, it's at least 37%, if not higher. We just got new rates, and I'm not sure if they...
Any reason for that? I mean, why it's higher here?
Liability. A lot of the doctors are afraid of taking risks because of their liability insurance. We've had some really friendly doctors in the past who the hospitals have really reined them in as far as attending births like breech or twins in the hospital. And so those women get cuts instead. They don't get the chance to have a vaginal birth anymore.
Wow. Well, I guess it's like Kraft cheese, not any relationship to here, but man can do better what the cow would do on their own, you know. I mean, in a sense, though, it is the sense that that people, and this might be a male-driven thing. Gosh, I'm getting too many words in here, but in the sense that, I mean, you're shaking your head, Stephanie.
It does seem that the medical establishment likes to step in more frequently than what would seem appropriate in my opinion, because I view birth as a natural event, not a medical event, just like that's the premise behind HypnoBirthing, that our bodies were designed to give birth. We've been doing this for thousands, hundreds of thousands of years.
Even before we were human beings.
Right, so all animals do this. Birth is natural, our bodies were designed to do that, and so stepping into a hospital to have a baby, you are looking at some sorts of interventions. Unfortunately, it is difficult to have a natural birth in a hospital because doctors and nurses are at work, that's their job, and they are looking to do something.
Well, perhaps people who have hammers look at everything as nails. As a contractor, I can say that.
So I do think we have to step away from the medical model a little bit when looking at birth and maybe reevaluate the way we look at birth, because birth really is normal, and before women were having babies in hospitals, they were doing just fine. In fact, almost better. There are historical records that show birth being accomplished in under 3 hours with no pain. And
yeah, but one isn't the argument against that you know we had more death, more mothers dying at birth. I mean, historically speaking, because of infection was the issue then, right?
There was a problem with infection, and that what happened was that women, when they began going into the hospitals to have babies, moms and or babies were dying from infectious disease that was in the hospitals. But if you take a mother out of the hospital, the risk of infection goes way down.
Because they were just talking about recently, there's been another sort of a little blip on the screen about MRSA infections and things like that, which hang around hospitals and things like that. You know, in a sense, Tammi, you're sort of, I don't know where you were with Regan on this, but you've gone through a complete change in your life as to how you view birthing. Am I not right?
Absolutely. I took the 8-hour hospital childbirth education class before I had her, and I took my nice little walk to my cesarean. I fully interventive birth, and I ended up with a cesarean. And that
was on your first birth.
That was my first. And so there was some light bulb that finally went off in my brain that said there's got to be something different. And
what do you think that light bulb was?
I think intuitively, it could be, that every other woman, over the years, over the ages, thousands of years, can birth their baby vaginally. And my baby was only 7 pounds 6 ounces. There's no reason why she got stuck, except I was on my back, I had an epidural. None of the forces necessary to give birth vaginally were in place. Mm-hmm. So that happened. The light bulb went off, and I started reading more about birth and natural birth and Ina May Gaskin at the farm in Tennessee. And I started doing doula work at one point. And
what were you doing professionally at that time?
I was working for the Navy as a budget and IT analyst. I have a master's in public administration.
So that's a very different, aspect of thinking and work you were doing.
It is. It's very analytical, and